It's early morning on the platform at Plymouth, and the crowds are waiting for a train that will take them to the most southwesterly rail-connected point in the country. "327 miles by rail from London is the Cornish town of Penzance. It's the end of the line, the terminus for services arriving at the most westerly and southerly railway station on the British Rail network. Services in Cornwall were once part of the old GWR and are now operated by Great Western. Across the years, the town's seen a variety of motive power, and on this particular day, the Great Western's ageing fleet of HSTs was under the spotlight on the shortened trains now known as the Castle Sets. After 43 years of express services, they're in their twilight years, but are proving to be more popular than ever with enthusiasts. Just half a mile from the station lies Penzance Traction Maintenance Depot, also known as Long Rock. It sits alongside the Cornish Main Line at the point where it runs as a single track, and this is where the enthusiasts are heading for the Long Rock Open Day. The relatively small depot is now responsible for looking after the Night Riviera Sleeper train and consists of 6 long sidings to store high-speed trains and voyagers and 4 smaller sidings. It's here that the 2019 Long Rock Open Day was celebrating almost 170 years of railways in Cornwall. The original 4-road engine shed opened in 1914, and in 1958 Long Rock serviced diesel locomotives. The depot, designed for British Rail's fleet of new Intercity 125s, cost £1.5 million to build and was ready for use in October 1977. Recently, £20 million worth of work at the depot has seen capacity increased to cater for additional rolling stock maintenance, especially for stock used on the Night Riviera Sleeper service. Inside the new depot was a selection of Mark III sleeping cars. This is now their home depot, and alongside and lifted off its bogies was a Class 57. The Open Day at Long Rock was attended by several thousand visitors. Modern vintage and rare power celebrating Cornwall's railways. The proceeds from the event were donated to the RNLI Penley Lifeboat Station in nearby Newlyn, and the lifeboat theme was at the forefront during the day, with one of the GWR's new Intercity Express trains dedicated to heroes of Cornwall in a special ceremony. GWR named one end of their Intercity Express train, or IET, number 802-008, RNLB Solomon Brown, in commemoration of the crew of the Penley lifeboat that lost their lives on December the 19th, 1981, following a distress call from the cargo ship MV Union Star on its maiden voyage. Both vessels were lost at sea, along with all 8 crew of the lifeboat and 8 crew and passengers from the Union Star. The other end of the train was named Rick Riscola. Rick was originally from Hale and was security chief for Morgan Stanley at the World Trade Center, and is credited with saving the lives of over 2,500 people as he evacuated them from the South Tower. The Open Day was the first opportunity that the general public had to look around the new facility. And there was plenty to see. Across the site, a wide variety of motive power on show from a variety of operators and preservation groups. Still in the limelight and enjoying their golden years, Great Western's fleet of HST power cars. First production HST power car, 43002, built back in 1976, has become a bit of a celebrity in its retro British Rail Intercity 125 livery. The power car was named in honour of the industrial designer Sir Kenneth Grange at the open day at the Bristol GWR HST depot back in 2016. The power car set to become part of the National Collection on retirement, and in the meantime enjoying the limelight and celebrity status, much as it did back in 1976 when first introduced. GWR power car 43185 was named Great Western in 1992, having been introduced from new 10 years earlier. It sports another of the popular retro colour schemes, the smart Intercity Swallow livery. These colours were introduced in May 1987 as part of Intercity's 21st anniversary celebrations, with the Swallow logo symbolising grace and speed and replacing BR's former double arrow logo. Another of the fleet, 43162, is named Exeter Panel Signal Box, 21st anniversary 2009. The power car sports Great Western's blue livery and was originally built at Crewe back in 1981. 43042 is another of Great Western's fleet, built in 1977. Like her sisters, she's travelled millions of miles in frontline service, between them providing the backbone of mainline services from Devon and Cornwall through to London, South Wales and the West Country. The GWR's Class 57s are all re-engineered locomotives, rebuilt by brush traction from redundant Class 47s. These were, of course, the most numerous freight and passenger diesel electrics in the country, and now fitted with a refurbished EMD engine and a reconditioned alternator, improving reliability and performance, each costing around £300,000. That's about 1/3 that of a new build locomotive. The GWRs are all named after castles in Devon and Cornwall and operate mainly on the Night Riviera service between London and Cornwall. They were once familiar residents at the Old Oak depot just outside Paddington, but are now found at Reading and here at Long Rock. 57602 was originally 47337. Restormel Castle is named after the castle that lies by the River Fowey near Lostwithiel in Cornwall. Sister Loco 57604 was originally 47209, now named Pendennis Castle after the artillery fort near Falmouth in Cornwall. And 57605 was originally 47206, now called Totnes Castle, of course situated in the town of Totnes on the River Dart in Devon. Painted in their very much unmistakable liveries, they represent the face of the Western's diesel loco fleet. Built in 2003, 66714 is GB Railfreight's Chroma lifeboat, built by the American manufacturer General Motors Electromotive Division. GB Railfreight is one of the country's leading private rail companies, with over 850 staff operating over 1,000 trainloads a week, moving around 15% of Britain's rail freight. Also at the event, two Class 50s that have recently joined the GB Railfreight fleet. The Class 50 alliances 50007 Hercules and 50049 Defiance have been repainted into the operator's smart livery and are being used to operate selected GBRF trains on a spot hire basis, on work that includes moving locomotives to heritage railways and rail tours. This is expected to release Class 66s for other duties, and the locos are based at the Severn Valley Railway. And completing the GBRF set is Class 73107 Tracy. The Class 73s were built by English Electric for British Rail, and this one being constructed in 1965. The electric diesels were an unusual type as they could operate from the southern region's 750-volt DC third rail, or by using the onboard diesel engine to allow it to operate on non-electrified routes. It was named Tracy after a member of the GWRF staff at Victoria in 2015. Named after St Piran, the Long Rock Shunter, Class 08645, sports the brand new livery of the Cornish flag. According to legend, St Piran landed on the sands at Perranporth after being cast into the sea by the Irish tied to a millstone. The veteran shunter built at Horwich in 1959. Its classmate is a year older. At one time, these were the most numerous of all British locomotive classes. Class 47-306, the Sapper, one of the 512 Class 47 locos built by British Rail in 1964. Now this is one of the Bodmin Heritage diesels. It became a celebrity Railfreight loco following an appearance at the Old Oak Common Open Day in 2000 in the Railfreight distribution grey livery, the colours it still wears today. Another visitor from the Bodmin and Blenford Railway is BR Class 50042, named after the warship Triumph. The loco was built in 1968 and taken out of service from Lera at Plymouth in 1990. Although it had only been overhauled 3 months earlier, its bogies were exchanged after withdrawal for ones with worn-out wheels, and some parts had been stolen. It was restored sufficiently to move under its own power by November 1992 and was placed in service the following year. Representing a very different age, the age of steam, former GWR loco 3205. This is a Great Western Railway 060 steam tender locomotive designed for medium-powered freight. They were designed by Charles Collett and built at Swindon, introduced in 1930 as a replacement for the earlier Dean goods. 120 examples being built up to 1948. 3205 was built at Swindon in 1946 and is a resident of the South Devon Railway, a 7-mile former GWR branch that runs from Buckfastleigh to Totnes along the valley of the River Dart. These were the last design of 060 tender engines to enter service in the UK. Also visiting is GWR pannier tank number 4612. The GWR 5700 class was constructed between 1929 and 1950, with 863 locomotives built. They were the most prolific class of the GWR, and one of the most numerous classes of all British steam locomotives. Although officially designated by GWR as light goods and shunting engines, they were also used for passenger workings on branch, suburban and shorter mainline journeys. 4612 was built in 1942 at Swindon and operated out of St Blaise engine shed for use on the China Clay branch line, and in fact 16 survive in preservation. And one of the smallest locomotives, Alfred, built in 1953, an 040 operated by the Port of Par. One of 2 four-wheeled saddle tank steam locomotives. Alfred and Judy were built by W.G. Bagnall for use at Par Harbour in Cornwall. And so, another successful open day, with thousands of visitors enjoying the event, marking the new look Long Rock Depot.